Um, when you hear this idea of, a realistic spore, quote unquote, what do you think? Well, you mentioned the book. Oh, there you go, the screen sharing. But you mentioned the book that you mentioned, of course. But what do you kind of look for in that uh, declaration that you would really be impressed by? Big
Uh,
question, I know, but
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, there's so many ways to do it. Yeah. I love what I'm seeing already with the volcanoes. Oh, what? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, when I think about things that it's like the cosmic scale and also the compellingness. Like I think about like that What Is Life book is very compelling. Carl Sagan's Cosmos series, very compelling.
mm,
And then what if you see One Strange Rock? This is beautiful.
once
One Strange Rock oh, it's oh my God. It's like so good. It's this
I'll add to my
documentary
list.
series produced by Darren Aronofsky and Will Smith, the
Huh.
actor, is in it. He's so good. It is so good. I cannot endure. I'm just gonna say, just go watch it.
I'll add it to my list for sure.
Oh my
One
gosh.
rock.
Well, right now, Rathos is loading into the game itself, which begins as a tutorial, but it begins in the hydrothermal vents, akin to
Oh, cool.
a lot of traditional interpretations of the origin of life. So,
I like the kind of cinematic titling.
That was a feature someone just decided to add one day.
It's like adds a lot. It's like where are we? So what's our here we are, the environment. Oh, yeah, we got the like this is the underwater environment. This was like some very some earthy vibes.
huh,
You know,
interesting. Yeah.
the chemical compositions, right?
Yeah, in a way, because especially in the beginning of the game where there's not much of the other life forms evolved,
Yeah.
it's mostly about figuring out your chemistry. You have multiple input
That,
potentials, you have multiple metabolism styles. You just ate a poison right there, but you have
how do I
multiple.
know? How would a player know what they're supposed to be doing right now? Like, are they just, is it through like experimentation? Like, how do I know which thing is good and bad? Because the red, just like, I'm going to discover by the red flashing and the,
There's that, and also there's a tutorial to enable for new players.
uh,
So that can give them some guidance. But if you take damage, you see that little description in the middle of your screen that says damage by
yeah,
X, or this is what's happening. So it
yeah.
is one thing we're
Uh-oh,
always
radiation.
yeah,
Uh-oh.
one thing we're always mindful of is the new player experience. Um, I'm someone who likes to advocate for a tougher game, but this already is inherently a pretty dense game to take in all at once. So there's always something to be mindful of.
And even when it's not a super dense game at the intensity, there's that first level of do I start by looking at these pretty clouds and trying to eat them, or do I read all these compound equations on the left side? If tutorials
Yeah.
were on, those two boxes on the left are actually start closed because like you don't need to know that. Just touch each color and see which one hurts you. We'll talk about chemistry later.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah. I like that. Okay, now we're gonna evolve. Oh my
Yes.
gosh, there's so much stuff to look at.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the big thing. This is the auto evo report, which lets you understand what other life forms look like, what the atmosphere and environment looks like, the compounds. Wow, Rathos is doing a great job with his mouse guiding. And the
What should
physical
there be?
conditions. Go ahead.
Uh-huh,
Sorry.
I see. We have curious what the dense how many other organisms I should be seeing at this stage. You know, like what the density is of other cells.
Are you asking how
Or
many
is
other
it
ones there tend to be?
yeah, no, I saw a few others, but it's like are
Yeah.
they because I've seen some images of bacterial colonies, and it's like they're like teething, seeming, teething,
Yeah.
teeming with them.
Now, if you see this, this is
Oh,
the
what
patch
is
map.
this?
Yeah, this is the patch map, which lets you see kind of the world around you. There are multiple
Oh, that's
potential biomes
cool.
to live in, and organisms can spread throughout these environments and
Oh,
adapt to more
interesting.
or less favorable conditions. So,
Wow.
to kind of segue off your previous point about kind of density, once the world is more evolved, then there really is the potential for these huge swarms of bacteria. We're always working on improvements to AI to make it more engaging, more threatening. But even now, you might see hordes of little tiny bacterium that spit poison at you, which they evolve by themselves, or this large organism kind of trying to soak around this one chunk that it gets a lot of its food from. So there's a lot of emergent behavior from these situations already.
That's cool.
Yeah.
This case, I'm going to stick around here instead of immediately moving on so that we can actually see some more life as it develops here.
Yeah, that's a good idea, I think. But with moving across different patches, you become the pioneer species oftentimes. Because the beginning of the world or the beginning of the game starts at abiogenesis almost, or as you as Luca almost. So the world is empty until you and your descendants spread throughout it. And this is footage of the editor, which lets you kind of compose your organism. If you see the tooltip that Rathlos is currently on, is on Rusty Cyanin, which lets you absorb iron compounds, which float around the chunks. This lets you, you input these products and then you create either ATP or another energy source that transitions to ATP from them. So
is this space the edit? Are we editing the
yes,
creature right
sir.
now?
Yes, it is.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
What if you could do like uh what's the word again? Where the mitochondrial move, the Margolis move.
Endosymbiosis.
In the symbiosis.
And the symbiosis, you kind of like it's like gonna be like Kirby, like you go and you like find some
Yeah.
other creature doing something that's helpful to you, and like you hang out, and it kind of like you don't eat them, but maybe you hang out next to them long enough, and then you kind of gain the option to like join up with them.
Yeah. Right
It'd be
now,
like a cheaper evolutionary move.
yeah. Right now, endosymbiosis is a feature. Remembers what organisms you consumed in the prior generations. If you consume
Ah,
if you target a species as your endosymbiont, which is who you're trying to
yeah,
create into an organ, every
yeah,
time you consume that organism and future generations, it becomes a eukaryotic part for prokaryote, for example. And if you do that,
yeah.
for example, 3 times for some organisms that are very favorable, you unlock that part. So it's kind of a very scientific flair version of collect X amount of items to unlock this part.
Got it.
Hopefully we get to a point where we can see that. But
Uh-oh, no ATP.
yeah,
We're getting damaged. No ATP. Oh, because are we starving? Is that what's happening?
yes, yeah, this organism is starving currently. So
And swimming through hydrogen sulfide.
yeah, that'll do it to you.
Bad combination.
Yeah. So there's the first death of the playthrough. And you see those savage microbes trying to eat the guts.
So do you find it's hard to identify with these little bubbles in their life and death struggles, particularly when they're young and featureless right now?
Yeah, I mean, I was advocating strongly for like I was like, how would Pixar show? I think one of the things I said was like, how would Pixar make a movie about a single cell organism? It's like they definitely put eyes on it.
You actually saw an
But especially,
engulfment over there.
Oh yeah,
oh, I
can
like
see that.
these other creatures. This cool. They're kind of there seems like like they have their own sort of
Every organism evolves
some interesting
dynamically.
dynamics.
Yeah, every
Yeah.
organism evolves dynamically from our auto ecosystem, which is what we term our algorithm, which helps you, which defines how organisms evolve. So eventually, they'll probably need some tweaking now, but eventually these organisms turn to eukaryotes and predators, autotrophs, chemolithotrophs, a bunch of different organisms. Obviously, with any sort of procedural item like this, it's a matter of balancing it until you find a favorable outcome, but also measuring the objectives of the game almost. So that's always a dance that I think Rathlos and Game Dungeon might have some input about, but
It's one of those deviations, I think, from Spore is that, because we don't have our equivalent of the Sporopedia where you're sharing creatures across worlds, because everything's supposed to originate and derive from other things, we had to make kind of a new form of procedural generation focused on how do you procedurally show if I had run this simulation for another 100 million years, what would have evolved? Because the player doesn't have time to keep doing generation after generation. The player wants to get through the game in a human lifetime.
yes, and
Right.
if you see what Rathlos is currently going through, that's the
Yeah,
evolutionary tree of the life forms right now. So
that's cool.
um, you can see
Got
what
it.
exists.
So the auto evo is growing this tree.
Yes, yeah,
That's cool. And you're one of the and you're playing one of the leaves of it.
yeah. Your Rathlos is currently premium trivium, which is the top fruit right now. So it's a
It's like there should be like a you are here.
yeah, yeah. That's a good point.
The trees get
I mean,
very
it's
big
all
after a while.
Yeah.
it's interesting. It also makes me wonder if like if in that screen it was like a you are here, it might be interesting to let the players kind of play any switch who they are. Like why not just like jump around?
Yeah, that's a discussion actually we had revolving around the concept of difficulty, right? Where if we're
Yeah.
enforcing how interconnected all of life is, then if you go extinct, quote unquote, with one species, perhaps you switch to another one to continue on life on this planet. Because it's that quote, like 99% of everything goes extinct after,
Yeah.
ultimately.
I mean, it could. It's like a nice. It's interesting because it like puts the player agency back in a system that actually doesn't need it, right? Because the auto evo could just be pushing the tree and growing the tree, and the player could just be sort of choosing where they want to play in that tree, and so they would then be both dynamically adjusting their difficulty for the kind of experience they want to have. But sort of their sort of designing the creature they want is like less important. Like it's like more realistic sort of representation of player agency. Am I making sense? Like in terms of, I feel like to me, I just realized that this is like that's an interesting way of reconciling player agency with because like the players don't people don't design the creatures obviously like evolution that no one designs the creature, but if you can jump around the tree, you're in a sense like saying, great, you have a player agency as a player. I'm not violating the sort of evolutionary you know
Like you're picking the
determination
winners
of
at the horse race.
not picking the winner. I'm just playing which horse I'm going to play. The horses are evolving and speciating and doing their thing. And well, I guess, yeah, I can maybe through like what are the consequences of your play, I suppose. I don't know, but just being able to jump around, it's interesting.
We
That is
have the
interesting. Yeah.
And
feature.
all and it's a little bit, that's right, it's a little bit like that classic blind watchmaker interface. You know about that?
I do
Does
not.
that ring a bell? So Richard Dawkins wrote this book, The Blind Watchmaker, a very famous book about evolution. If you haven't read it, you should totally check it out. He's also did work in early, like in the artificial life community, and he built this. Right, so he built this. He's like a biologist. He wrote this program for his Mac that would evolve different like 2D. He called them biomorphs, I think. He had a little genetic algorithm, but you like it would give you like a grid of them, and then you would like choose which one you liked more, and it would like evolve more in that direction. So like that's a kind of a standard GA sort of user interface. And but I think he was the first to do it. So it's called the blind watchmaker interface. So you're just kind of choosing. I want it to be more like that, more like that, more like that. Like Photoshop variations, but for evolution. So you're playing like you're being the you're doing the directed you're doing like just like directed evolution. You're like breeding the creatures. So anyhow, it's just also it's I'm like that's another way of thinking about the blind watchmaker interface too. Because like
Interesting.
things are
Yeah.
branching. I'm choosing where I want to be and also kind of influencing where the direction the tree is growing.
Yeah. If you notice now, Rathlos created an organism that can consume iron, but it's not perfectly
Uh,
adapted to its niche yet. So it doesn't produce enough. At least I think that's what happened. It doesn't produce enough energy through iron only to sustain movement. So this is an
uh,
organism that can only burst if it has only iron in its structure, if that makes sense.
It will only burst.
Sorry, may I repeat?
I just didn't catch I didn't catch everything you said.
Oh,
What's the red line?
that's a Rathlos
That's
put down
chemoreception.
a chemoreceptor, which kind of symbolizes the greater
Uh,
ability to detect a specific compound or microbe or anything like that. So, but with the if you see this damage, Rathlos actually
yeah.
has the iron in the system, but um oh, he needs both glucose and iron to sustain its metabolism. So this organism is having a bit of a tough time because it only has iron but no glucose.
Another affordance we've been doing here, is that you see all these bacteria are moving. Realistically, that's not really what you'd be seeing. You'd be seeing a lot of floating around and doing nothing, but you got
Yeah.
to have some player agency. We
Yeah.
sacrificed the eyeballs, so we can't really trade away too much more.
I was just thinking like the colors are so vibrant, and I was thinking about like you could make the maybe you're already doing this actually, but like your ability to perceive them as an organism could like maybe like do you have the right sensory apparatuses in your body could change how they're rendered on the screen. So like if you have a really good, maybe you can discern the different compounds really well, so that you get these bright, colorful, just uh they're rendered in these very distinct colors versus like
Oh
kind
yeah.
of fog of war, like kind of like gray, and you're like you just don't know what it is.
Until you lick it.
Then it's like some of it kills you and some of it you could eat, but you're just like, I don't know. I don't know what the difference is. Maybe it's like so you can or maybe it's like maybe you gotta have show some kind of textural difference, but like can make it very subtle versus very clear.
Yeah, it's a question of, since we throw so much information at new players who are not fully
I
adapted,
know.
having this situation where you obscure some information could be another really tough layer for them to deal with. So
Well, I would say, yeah, I don't the flip side of the flip side of that is the notion of progressive disclosure, where you it's actually hard to come in and see a lot of information all at once as a new player. So you actually could use it to your advantage for a new player if there is less, like think about playing a Metroidvania. Like you come in and like there's all the stuff you can do, you don't even know about it yet, right? You don't have the abilities unlocked. But so that actually is helpful because it lets a new player not get overwhelmed with all the stuff that they might do in the future. So it's like, so I would say the flip side of it would be like progressive disclosure, which you actually can like, make the information display calm down a bit. And so there's
mm,
less for them to assimilate when they come in. But then as they get more expert, the world is like, oh, there's actually more detail here. There's more stuff to do and see. Right.
yeah, that's a good point. It's something we keep in mind for sure, but obviously as we include more features, more information needs to be decided on how to handle. So that is something that we consistently, I wouldn't say struggle
Yeah.
with, but we consistently consider all the time. If you noticed in the past
Yeah.
strips of the editor, Rathlos changed up his organism to fully rely on iron instead of glucose now because the combination of glucose and iron was a bit too much to
There's some
sustain
iron,
for
there's some
this
iron, there's
simple
some.
organism.
No, you're not gonna
Oh
make it.
man.
You know what I kind of want to see is like can you hop back to the detail view of the creature in the editor? Or is that possible to like see that? I feel like I kind of want to see that in the like in the heads up, like in the HUD, like
Do
that like design. See,
go
there's a
back into
lot
the
on
game
here.
and hit space and use the fossilization menu. You can look at stuff in
Oh,
like the Thrivepedia.
Fossilization menu. Well,
So you can't hot swap in a game, but you can always fossilize anything you see in the world, and you
no, no,
can
I just,
store it.
I just, no, no, I mean, I just mean like, I'm like, because like Deus was telling me like, oh, he made these changes. Like Rathos made these changes. I'm like, oh, I kind of want to like in the corner where I have this is the bottom right is like is like, that's about me, right?
It is. There's also the
yes.
process panel.
it's almost like you can put the little like a detail of like my guy there, like a little like detailed rendering. So I could see my design or something.
Oh, kind of
Because
like,
it's also
oh, go ahead, sorry.
like we can be combined with this or something. I don't know. Yeah, that's where I'm pointing with the stuff.
Kind of like
G
a
and shift.
detail on how you're getting your energy in a given moment, almost.
Yeah, you could even like show like the parts of the bot,
It
the parts of the organism light up that are activated to kind of reinforce that connection.
actually
Because you're
we have
telling
the
me with your words. Yeah.
yeah, okay, we have the process panel actually. If Rathos can click, which shows the process going on in your organism and what it
Oh, that's cool.
inputs.
Oh, that's very interesting.
And with the
Yeah, I feel
tutorial,
like
oh, go
yeah,
ahead, sorry.
you can turn it off, it looks like.
Yeah, but then he just
You
starts
die.
because there's nothing going on. It
That's so
decides not to.
interesting.
You have
That's
decided
so
to
interesting.
stop breathing.
Yeah, it's
But
like holding
that's
its
see,
breath.
that's so interesting. See, that feels like the thing that I want to be. That feels like the most. That feels like the thing that I want to be seeing all the time
Hmm,
because it's connected to like the iron that's in the environment. It's like, yeah, there's some way to like connect the dot. I'm just thinking now as like my designer, information designer hat on. I'm like, there's like all these bits, the iron is in the bottom left corner, in the top right corner, sometimes with the cursor. It's in the world. It's like, and it's like I kind of want to like make that diagram like complete and very, very obvious to the player.
I see
Because
what
that's
you
like the
mean.
choice he just made is like that iron, you know. So it's like I can see it and not be told it. You know what I mean? Like,
I see
I
what
guess
you
if I
mean. Yeah.
did it, I would, yeah. And then there's probably another process that's like the ATP consumption that keeps up my health, right?
Yeah. Of
It's not
course,
in the
ATP is
process panel,
energy.
but you could, yeah, energy. But you could put it in there too, and then that you could starving could be very clear too. It'd be like that thing is like not being fed. You know, like that process is starved of
Yeah,
inputs.
there were prior ideas of having kind of a minimum viable ATP kind of measure in the process panel, for example, and it's dynamic. So, if you're making six
Wow.
ATP and you need eight, it will show on the process panel like, hey, you need two more to make up a difference and be functional almost. So,
And see, we have that in the editor, and I think the philosophy was, and I'm talking about decisions made by people who are no longer here, so I'm just guessing, is this is where you have the most choice in that. Because once you've
Yeah.
already gone out into the world, and this is a problem we've faced, with the tougher conditions, unlike Spore, where you can kind of move forward as any creature and you can mate at any time.
Yeah.
In Thrive, if
Right.
you got your chemistry wrong by the time you're in the world, you might just kind of be out of luck until you go extinct, because if you can't make enough ATP to survive, you can't fix your metabolism with better gameplay. Which is why we show this in the upper right, like, hey,
Right.
here's your bank balance.
so that almost goes back to your idea related to the evolutionary tree, right? Where, if your
Yeah.
organism
Yeah.
isn't
Yeah.
working, it's not working. That's fine. But maybe you could have, maybe you could visit another part of the tree going forward and see how the life works out for you then, almost.
It's like there's two maps I'm navigating, and what is that spatial map with those like cells? That like what did you call it? The patch map?
Yes. Yeah.
Another map is like the evolutionary tree. Those are like the two maps that really matter. So really, I'm like navigating this evolutionary map and this spatial map, right? I'm like,
Mm,
by making a mutation, I'm making a new branch. I'm trying a new branch, or I'm potentially switching creatures. But I
mm.
kind of want to see the like. It's like, and then when I'm playing the game, it's like that's I'm throwing the space in with the leaf that I've currently chosen, and I'm putting them together. But like showing these I like what this is just like my inclination as a designer, right? Obviously you might have a very different take on it, but it's like I'm like I want to see the choices I made in the editor, those dynamic those mechanics be
Well,
illustrated to me in the game very clearly, So I'm like, oh, that's I did that, and that's what's happening. That's what's happening now, for better or worse.
that is an interesting point. Yes. Yeah.
Compounds and environment, that what is the bottom left box for compounds? The environment is like that's just everywhere. Yeah, what is and this is and compounds is just what's currently near me right now.
The way you kind of can think about it is the compounds box lets you know what
Yeah.
clouds are in your organism, and the environment lets
Yeah.
you know what kind of uh, environmental factors there are in your environment. Because,
Wow.
for
So
example,
compounds is what's inside of me
Yeah, this is your
yes, yes,
in
inventory,
my
let's say.
body.
yes, 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 yeah.
It's my body.
Yes. So if you look at the iron, the compounds bar is telling you you're full on iron. So that's what you're processing. If you get out of the iron cloud, stop consuming it, then it gets consumed. So that's what generates the ATP energy. And then when it gets to zero,
Yeah.
you start starving. So, oh, you don't have to go to
And
zero,
what are
but
the
it's just
bars of the, yeah, what are the bars on the bottom right? I mean,
bars on the bottom right. Oh,
the
uh,
pink, yeah, these big
pink is health,
bands.
green is energy generation, and the circle, the orange and the purple around the circle, that indicates your growth progression, which you can increase by absorbing ammonia or phosphate.
So that iron is being converted, the iron compound is being converted into pink health right now,
No, into
gradually.
the green energy, actually.
Into the green.
Yes,
Got it.
and you heal after a certain amount of time if you have enough energy,
Got it.
if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's like I want to put those things together. Yeah,
Mm.
So if I
spatially.
turn this off,
No more
Yeah,
green.
green bar
yeah.
drains because I have no energy, and because
And
I
now
have
you're
no
dying.
energy, I start dying. That's the
Yeah.
general idea.
Yeah, there's something interesting. It's very interesting.
If you see all that pink goop, that's all the other cells dying around them. So something's going on.
Interesting.
If you die, you drop your
Yeah,
inventory.
like yeah, I'm like, could you show like a call out, like a detail of of your body in the corner, and you could actually show the compound inside of my body with the same color scheme as they're used in the environment, so I would see them kind of getting ingested and being transformed within me or something.
Mm,
It's an interesting idea because you
yeah.
could. There's a few related bits of HUD here. Um, I'm almost imagining the compound indicators and the health bar and fatigue bar kind of covering up your organelle layout, but you can kind of see your little blobus thing that's kind of your inventory bag, but also your body because you're currently a bag of jelly.
Hmm.
You can see what's inside it, and what it's doing.
Yeah. And then I would get rid of make the environment box like kind of more in the environment somehow visually, like make it less, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, this one
Yeah.
is a bit unusual also because the difference is this one has got nothing to do with what's inside you, really. It's just the
Yeah,
part of the
yeah.
environment that's just everywhere instead of a specific
Yeah.
cloud.
Yeah.
Like,
So it's like I'm kind of like put it in the top left corner or something and kind of remove the frame and make it a little more kind of attached to the space itself.
mhm.
Now, it does
Yeah.
relate to metabolism because, for example, O2, oxygen, you see it's a top value in the environment panel.
Yeah.
When you have either a mitochondria or a metabolome, it uses that oxygen level in your environment to create ATP off of glucose. But
Right. But
still
the
goes to the
environment is
point
like,
where,
but
yeah,
that's a statistical
exactly.
aggregate of the whole environment versus like on the screen, what's rendered in front of me is like what's actually here.
Good point.
So
Yeah,
that seems to
still,
me
yeah,
like, so this is like really, this environment box feels like it's really more like peripheral ambient information about the overall
yeah, yeah,
environment.
yeah. That point still stands. Absolutely, yes. Good
And it's
point,
like
though.
that's the card, and it's kind of like, and it's like that's that same kind of card, the same information display card should be the same one I see in the patch view,
Yeah,
like
and
right. That's what characterizes each one of those patches.
Can
it's
you pull up the
almost.
Evo tree again?
Oh,
This is also our Thrivepedia. It shares a name with the Sporepedia. Otherwise, it doesn't have much in common. But we had to have a Thrivepedia because you guys had a Sporepedia, so tradition.
Yeah, I love. Yeah, I want to see like this creature in the corner, like like I want to see that guy. I want to like see the chemical processes playing out on those parts. That would make those parts feel so cool.
oh,
That it's like.
so almost like opening up the editor screen for that organism, if that makes sense.
But I'm saying that's why I want to see the detail of the organism in the main while I'm playing the game. So it's like while I'm
In
playing the
game while
game,
you're
I
fooling
Oh, okay,
see
around.
okay, got it,
in
got it.
game while I'm playing, I'm like seeing little bits of I'm seeing the compounds list. The compounds are rendered inside of the cell, the same way they're rendered in the environment, right? Make that connection really concrete. And then like I see them moving through that. I see rather than like a little arrow with a number, it's like I just see them getting. It's like I see a little pump working in there. This doing the little like do a little bit, particle effect transformation. I like see it happening. I'm not being told it's happening,
It's
right?
like Factorio in your
And then it's
belly.
going to make those, yeah, exactly. Factorio in your belly, exactly. And then
It's
it's
like
like, and then
opening up
makes the,
a machine as it's working
yeah, yeah.
and
And then it makes
seeing
the parts that
how
I'm
it
playing
moves.
with in the editor so cool. I'm like, oh, that's that little purple gizmo is the thing that converts this into that. Right. It's gonna make them feel so much more like fun toys because I know that like when I go to play with them, they're gonna be doing this cool thing. Right. The system you
Interesting.
guys have here is very cool. I'm just like I'm just pushing on the sort of uh like because as you're walking me through this, I'm like, oh, this is what's happening, right? So I'm trying to get my head around it, and I'm just thinking like with my design approach, I'm like, how would I make what you're telling me like just more clear? You know, I mean, this is the thing. Like when if you watch Will Wright's his talk about his first game he ever made, his GDC talk where he talks about like he did all this cool simulation and it's like he's like, yeah, I did all this stuff, but like nobody knew this was happening because I didn't show it. You guys are showing a lot, but it's not in their case, it's more like making it. And I have to say, like, I'm like not a I like things to be super. I'm like kind of a very basic gamer, really. I want things to be super basic and clear to me. I don't want to work hard.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah. And I mean,
But I think
I'll go ahead then.
most people don't.
Yeah.
This is cool.
I mean, that is a big kind of uh, conflict we see, or constant question of how can we make this more clear to the player, because there's
Yeah.
a lot going on and it's all connected in a way, but maybe not in all the ways that a new player might understand immediately. So
And you see
Well,
that
it's like there's
disparity.
just so much.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Sorry. There's just it's part of it is like it's a lot of it. When I work with people on design stuff, it's like the question is always it's always like, oh, this is important, that's important, that's important. And the fundamental question is what's the hierarchy? If someone comes in, this is like basic graphic design, but basic like any design, like what's the hierarchy? Like what's the headline? What's the next most important thing? What is the kind of what's the relative hierarchical importance of all that information? And then you have to have the display or the interaction reflect that hierarchy. But it starts with becoming clear about what's important. You have to have a clear picture or theory about what's important. The relative importance. Everything's relative. You know,
absolutely, yeah, makes
everything
sense.
cannot be in boldface, 72 point type, right? Then nothing is bold.
Yeah, absolutely, that makes sense.
Okay, sorry. I feel like I'm just kind of like preaching to you guys. I'm sorry.
No, but it's very interesting.
How much do we owe you for the consultation?
Yeah.
No, it's fine. This is fun for me. Sorry. I'm excited to see this.
I'm
Um,
glad.
yeah, this is really cool. This is you know, this is impressive. And it's cool that there's something beautiful about the way your project is working as an multi-generational open source project too. It's like poetic and it's almost kind of appropriate to the content in multiple ways. You know,
Yeah,
Spore itself was this never-ending, many years long project, and the project of life itself is takes many generations. It's like a cathedral, but bigger.
wow, that's very poetic. You sound like an Irish poet.
Well, there are a lot of people on the team now, and I'm sure a lot of our previous people are very jealous that we get the chance to finally show this off to you and have something
Yes,
to finally show off after so many generations.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you guys should be proud of this. I see the coolness of what you have here. It's very cool. So I wish you the best with sort of, yeah, with pushing this forward.
we really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, yeah.
And like almost every feature you see here was, somebody's baby. Someone was championing it and pushing it forward. We have one full-time developer who's, working on the rote day-to-day stuff, but a lot of this was, hey, I want a procedurally generated patch map, and I'm going to put in the effort to put it through.
Yeah.
The chemoreceptor was one 3D artist who was rounded up programmers and game designers to actually make this thing finally be in the game because no one was
Oh,
going to be
look,
the first
now we're gonna.
mover.
This patch thing is super interesting, I have to say. It's got like a real, I love the kind of fogginess. Fog of War is like, that kind of like, I don't know, like, the kind of like, and I love the clarity of it. And also just like how it represents, like, oh yeah, I started in the hydrothermal vent, and I'm like moving through space to different environments. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah,
That's
uh,
great.
there, there's an interesting question there because obviously the world to something this microscopic is very abstract, and
Yeah,
even
yeah,
the
yeah,
gameplay.
exactly.
So
Yeah,
it's a question of how to
exactly.
portray
Yeah,
these environments to these tiny
right.
organisms that can only see a fraction of a fraction of the fraction of
Yeah,
it.
yeah. That's right. It's right. It's like it's not a map. It's like I mean it's a map, but it's not like a traditional two-dimensional, like a naturalistic map. It's like an abstract. This like abstracted graph captures that like problem. Like what does space mean to a bacteria? Like
Yeah,
it's like
absolutely.
I was just like this is probably near that. But it's like that because that's it. It's like that kind of really local like adjacency. Like
Yeah,
yeah, and also like I don't know. Yeah, I can also use my imagination about where I am in the world.
yeah. One thing I try to focus on a lot of times is how can we greater differentiate each patch from each other, make the gameplay more substantial. And that was a pretty tough question until recently, where things like currents and terrain have been introduced to the game in the past like few months actually. So we're almost in the process of figuring out how
Currents.
to maximize those things in these games or in these patches. At least the differences between each
Yeah.
patches through these features.
Well, great. Well, this was fun. Thanks, guys, for taking the time to
It's
show
been our
this to
pleasure,
me and,
honestly.
make
Absolutely, yeah,
this. Yeah, it's also like the biggest compliment to see you guys, you and your team and the teams that came before you do this project inspired by the work that me and many of my colleagues put so much time into. So it's touching.
There are a
uh,
couple other spiritual successors. I don't know how much you ever looked up Spore and its legacy after the game, or if you're one of those creatives that's just like done, pack it up, go on to the next thing. But there are a few other games that I could point you to that I think you might find interesting.
yes.
Creature Crafter took the exact opposite approach to Thrive. Like everything that was in
Uh-huh.
Spore that's not in Thrive, Creature Crafter kind of went in the exact opposite direction. It's like playing Roblox, but with
Uh-huh.
the Spore creature creator.
Oh, look
There's
at
a lot of
that. Oh,
projects in the middle.
interesting.
Elysian Eclipses too. Very Spore
Oh, look at
inspired.
that. It really Elysian Eclipse. Oh, that is interesting. Oh, wow. That's cute. It's like very cartoony. And then they play soccer and go to a concert. What? That's amazing. That's really funny.
All right, well,
Oh,
we've
wow. They
made it up
really
to
they
Icecap.
really did the spine and everything. That's so interesting.
You did some very pioneering work, sir, or Doctor.
Absolutely.
Well, a lot of other people too. What's the other title you were telling me about? What's the other one you're saying? At least something?
Elysian Eclipses, I think.
We shot them
Elysian
out in like
Eclipse.
yeah
Yeah.
every second Thrive video.
Oh, look at that. It's like the cell. That's pretty. Also pretty. Oh, wow, it's like it's so funny. It's like so cute. It's so yeah, you guys really I see now. I see your point about the sort of stylistic direction. Well, that's interesting too. It's like because we only got to make one spore in a sense, and we had to we had to make a choice, and
You made a game about
now
people
there's
making their own stuff, so eventually people made their own games. It kind
Yeah.
of follows.
exactly. Well, my theory, after writing my book, like after studying, which is like a lot about the history of Praxis and the history of simulation and artificial life, um, the history of computing is that I think that the medium of computer games is fundamentally about making computer games. Like you just look at how people like it's like what you look at games like Space War, for instance, like the old computer games, like there was not like a Space War game you would get. Space War was like an idea, it was like folk culture. Like you would go and like re-implement it, your own version of it yourself on your computer, and people will share code and reuse it sometimes. But there was a lot of like local recreations. Just again and again, the history of and when Steve Wozniak makes the Apple II, he like really wants to have BASIC on it because BASIC is always going to be able to play all the games he wants to be able to play and typing them in. And people, then someone like Bill Budge comes along and makes Pinball Construction Set because he's been typing in Wozniak's Breakout game over, over and over again and makes his own version of it. It's like it's about computer games. I think is about making games. I just saw that so many times.
That is very cool. Sorry, I
Yeah.
didn't have a more
That's fine.
epiphanious response.
Now Steve
was-
is pointing me to No Man's Sky.
Oh yeah, No Man's Sky. That's a very procedural
I mean,
kind of
I
gigantic.
played that
Yeah.
yeah, I played that for like a little bit when it first came out on the PlayStation, I think.
Mm.
But I know they kept working on a lot. This has been fun, guys. I should probably get going.
Yep, thank you very much for stopping by. I know I went a little over the.
Yeah.
Thank you very
It was-
much, Meg. It was a pleasure speaking
yeah.
with you.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah,
Spore was very
likewise.
huge in my childhood, so really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you for reaching out and having such great questions and such fun stuff to show me and talk about.
Absolutely.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you for
Take
being
care.
here.
Have a good one.
Okay.
Bye.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye.